Let me ask you about something you may well have felt and never understood. Have you ever eaten a few slices of fresh, raw pineapple, that sweet, juicy tropical fruit, and after a little while noticed a strange feeling on your tongue? A tingling, a roughness, maybe even a faint stinging or burning as if your tongue had been scraped raw. And most folks, feeling it, just shrug and say to themselves, well, it is a sharp sort of fruit, it must be the acid in it, the same as a sour lemon might sting a little, and they think no more about it. But the truth of what is happening in your mouth is far stranger than that, and I will tell you plainly, it is a little startling when you first learn it. It is not the acid. When you eat a raw pineapple, the pineapple is, in a manner of speaking, eating you right back. That tingle on your tongue is the fruit going to work on the very flesh of your mouth. It is one of the strangest plain facts I have come across, and once I understood what was truly going on, I could never again eat a slice of fresh pineapple without thinking about it. Now, I want to be careful and plain about this because it sounds more alarming than it is, and I do not want to leave you afraid of a perfectly good fruit. The pineapple is not dangerous to you, and I will explain exactly why it cannot truly harm you, and how to stop the tingle altogether if it bothers you. But the reason behind that strange feeling is a genuinely fascinating bit of plain, natural fact, and it carries a lesson about cooking and about the nature of things that I know well from a lifetime in and around the kitchen and the farm. I am Elias Yoder. I am Amish, and I farm in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Now I will tell you plainly, right at the start, the pineapple is no fruit of mine. It grows in the hot tropical lands far to the south, in the warm places near the middle of the earth, and it is never grown in a Lancaster County field, and never will. My people did not raise it, and do not know it as their own. So I come to this not as a grower of pineapples, but as a curious man who ate one, felt that strange sting, and went and learned what was behind it. And what I learned I will share with you plainly, giving honest credit along the way to the peoples who understood this fruit long before any scientist put a name to what it does. So today, on this channel where I take the ordinary things of the world that puzzle folks and explain them plainly, let me tell you why the pineapple seems to bite the tongue that bites it, what is truly happening in your mouth, why it cannot really hurt you, and the two simple ways to stop it cold, one of which rests on a piece of plain kitchen wisdom as old as cooking itself. Before I go on, a quick word. The plain old ways my family lives by, the cooking and the preserving and the understanding of how food behaves, the methods handed down to us, there is far more of it than fits in one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book at eliasyoder.com. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. Now let me explain what is actually in that fruit, because that is the whole heart of the matter. Deep inside the raw pineapple, there is a particular substance. The folks who study such things have given it a name, bromelain, but you need not trouble yourself with the name. What matters is what it is and what it does. Bromelain is what they call an enzyme, and let me put that plainly for you because the fancy word hides a simple idea. An enzyme is a kind of natural substance whose whole job is to break other things down, to take a thing apart into smaller pieces. And this particular one, the one in the pineapple, has a very specific appetite. Its work is to break down protein. Now, protein is the stuff that flesh is made of. The meat of an animal is protein. And here is the thing you must understand to see the whole picture. The soft inside of your mouth, your tongue, your cheeks, the lining of it all, that too is made of protein. It is soft, living flesh. And so when you chew a piece of raw pineapple and that juice washes all through your mouth, the bromelain in it does the only thing it knows how to do. It goes to work breaking down protein. And the nearest protein at hand is the tender surface of your own mouth. The substance begins, gently and on a tiny scale, to break down the soft, protective lining of your tongue and cheeks. That rough, tingling, faintly stinging feeling is, to put it plainly, the sensation of the fruit beginning to break down the very surface of your mouth. The pineapple is eating you back. I told you it was a little startling, but stay with me, because it is not nearly so dire as it sounds, and the rest of the story is where the real interest lies. Now let me give honest credit where it is owed, because the understanding of this fruit's strange power is old, far older than any laboratory. Long, long before any scientist isolated this substance and gave it a name in the late 1800s, the native peoples of Central and South America, the indigenous folks of those warm southern lands where the pineapple grows wild and at home, knew all about its flesh-softening power. They did not have the word enzyme, and they did not need it. They knew by long experience and careful observation what the fruit could do. They had learned that if you took a tough, hard piece of meat and wrapped it in pineapple leaves or soaked it in the juice of the fruit, that tough meat would turn wonderfully tender and soft. The very same protein-breaking power that gently roughens your tongue was, in their wise hands, a tool for making hard meat tender and good to eat. That is their knowledge, discovered and handed down by them, and I want to name it plainly as theirs, for they understood this fruit intimately generations before the rest of the world had the first notion of what was happening inside it. And I will say, as a farming man, I have a deep respect for that kind of knowledge, the kind earned not from books, but from close and patient attention to the things of the earth, watching how they behave and learning to put them to good use. Those peoples read the pineapple rightly long before anyone could explain it. That is real wisdom, and it deserves honest acknowledgement. Now, let me give you one more example of just how strong this protein-breaking power can be, because it is a remarkable thing, and it shows you this is no small effect. In the middle of the last century, there were workers in the canneries, the places where pineapple was cut up and packed, who spent all day every day cutting the raw fruit by hand. Their hands were in that pineapple juice hour after hour, day after day. And something strange happened to them, something that sounds like a tale but is sober fact. Over time, that constant soaking in the concentrated juice slowly wore away the fine ridges on the tips of their fingers. The very fingerprints on their fingertips were gradually smoothed and eaten away by the protein-breaking power of the fruit, until for a time those workers had no fingerprints at all. Now do not be alarmed on their account. The fingerprints came back, every time, once the workers put on gloves to protect their hands or simply took a few days away from the cutting. No lasting harm was done. But think on it. A soft, sweet fruit, working away gently but steadily, could smooth the prints clean off a person's fingertips. That tells you the power in it is real and not to be dismissed, even if it is gentle in any single bite. And that brings us right back to the question that should be forming in your mind. If this fruit is busily breaking down the flesh of my mouth every time I eat it, and can even wear the prints off a person's fingers, then how on earth is it safe to eat at all? Why are we not all harmed by it? And the answer is a fine and reassuring one, and it comes in two parts. The first part is the remarkable toughness and resilience of your own body. The soft lining of your mouth is one of the most quickly renewing tissues you have. Those surface cells that the pineapple breaks down are replaced by your body with astonishing speed, often within a matter of hours. So, whatever small bit of the surface the fruit roughens up, your body has built it right back again before the day is out. The damage, if you can even call it that, is tiny and fleeting, and you are mended almost as fast as it is done. You are built to withstand far rougher use than a slice of fruit. And the second part is even more decisive. The moment you swallow that pineapple, it goes down into your stomach, and your stomach is full of strong acids whose whole purpose is to break down everything you eat. And those powerful stomach acids fall upon the bromelain and destroy it utterly, stopping it dead in an instant. The very substance that was nipping at your tongue is itself broken to pieces the moment it reaches your stomach, so it never has the least chance to do any harm deeper in. It is disarmed and undone the moment it passes your throat. Between your fast-healing mouth and your powerful stomach, you are in no danger whatsoever. The pineapple may nibble at your tongue, but you hold every advantage. Before I go on to the 2 simple ways to stop the tingle entirely, let me pause just a moment. If you are finding this useful and you would like more of these plain explanations of how food behaves and how the old folks understood it, that is the whole of what I gathered into the book at eliasyoder.com. It is the long version of all of this. Now let me finish, because here is the part with the most useful wisdom in it. So, suppose you love pineapple, but you would rather not have your tongue tingle at all. There are 2 plain and easy ways to stop it, and the first one rests on a piece of kitchen wisdom that I hold very dear, and that I think is the truest lesson in this whole story. The first way is simply this: cook it. Heat the pineapple, and the tingle vanishes completely. Why? Because heat changes the very nature of that bromelain. Warmth applied to it alters it and undoes it entirely, so that it can no longer break down protein at all. The heat simply unmakes the substance's power. And this, friends, is the part I find most worth carrying home, because it is a truth that runs through the whole of cooking far beyond this one fruit. Heat changes the very nature of a thing. This is one of the oldest and deepest pieces of kitchen wisdom there is, and any cook who has worked at a stove for years knows it in their hands, even if they never put it into words. A raw thing and a cooked thing are not the same thing at all. Heat transforms what a food is and what it does. We know that raw milk and scalded milk behave differently. We know that heat will set an egg from a runny liquid into a firm solid, a change that can never be undone. We know that cooking can take a thing that was harsh or hard or even faintly harmful in its raw state and render it gentle, soft, safe, and good. The careful old cooks understood, without any need of fancy words, that fire and heat are a kind of transformation, that passing a thing through heat changes its very character. The pineapple is just one more plain proof of this old truth. Raw, its substance nips the tongue. Cooked, that same substance is wholly changed and made harmless. This is exactly why canned pineapple, which has been heated in its preserving, never makes your mouth tingle at all. The heat of the canning long ago unmade the bromelain, and so the canned fruit is gentle as can be, while the fresh, raw fruit still carries its little bite. Same fruit, different nature, all because of heat. And the second way to stop the tingle is a clever trick that comes, fittingly, from the folks of Southeast Asia, another warm part of the world where the pineapple is well known and well understood. Their trick is to soak the cut fruit for a little while in some lightly salted water before eating it. The salt, it turns out, gently changes the shape of the bromelain just enough to disarm it, so that it can no longer get a grip on the flesh of your mouth. A simple soak in salt water, and the fruit is tamed, the tingle gone, and you may eat your fill in peace. Another fine piece of plain folk wisdom, discovered by careful people who knew their food well and worth giving them honest credit for. So you have your 2 ways. Cook it, and the heat unmakes the bite, or soak it in salt water, and the salt disarms it. Either way, you may enjoy the sweet fruit with no sting at all. And if you do not mind the little tingle, well, now you know it is doing you no harm, and you can simply enjoy the strange sensation for the curious thing it is. Let me say one last plain word about the fruit itself so we part with it fairly. The pineapple is not wicked. It is not out to get you. It is simply a fruit that happens to carry within it a substance that breaks down protein, and that substance happens to nip at your tongue when you eat the fruit raw, and also happens to make it a fine, natural tenderizer for tough meat. It is a curious quirk of the natural world, nothing more, and it just so happens to come wrapped in one of the sweetest and most pleasant fruits there is. There is something almost amusing in that so sweet a treat should carry such a surprising little bite. So let me gather it all together for you. Tell me in the comments below, have you ever felt that pineapple tingle and wondered what it was? Or did you always just blame the acid like most folks do? And here is a real question I am curious about. Have any of you ever used fresh pineapple or its juice to tenderize a tough cut of meat, the old way the indigenous peoples taught the world? I would like to hear how it worked for you. And if any of you know this fruit far better than a Pennsylvania farmer ever could, having grown it or worked with it firsthand, I would be glad to be taught more in the comments. I read every single one. And before you go, let me say again what this channel is for. So much of the ordinary world holds a small surprise in it if only we stop and look closely. A sweet, familiar fruit turns out to carry a strange and curious power that folks understood and put to use long before anyone could explain it. And tucked inside the answer is one of the oldest truths of every kitchen, that heat changes the very nature of a thing. Once you see the plain fact and the plain wisdom sitting inside the everyday thing, the whole common world opens up a little and grows richer and feels a good deal more wonderful than you knew. Next time on this channel, since today we talked of a fruit that breaks down meat, I'm going to explain another curious thing about food that has surprised many a cook. Why fresh milk turns sour, and what is truly happening when it does, and how the old folks turned that very souring, which seems like spoiling and ruin, into some of the finest foods we have, the cheese and the butter and the cultured creams. It is the same family of ideas, the hidden workings inside our food, and how the careful old folks learned to master them. Subscribe so you do not miss it. Until then, remember this. The next time you bite into a slice of fresh pineapple and feel that strange tingle rise on your tongue, you will know the truth of it now. It is no acid and no trick of your mind. It is a substance in the fruit that breaks down protein, gently working at the soft flesh of your mouth. The very same power that the indigenous peoples of the South long ago used to tenderize their meat, and the very same power that a little heat or a little salt will quietly undo. The pineapple means you no harm, and your fast-mending mouth and your strong stomach hold every advantage. It is just one more small wonder of the ordinary world, plain to understand once someone troubles to explain it, the way the careful folks have always understood the things they ate.